great question. Why do the government want us to register? Let me talk to you about what the plan was behind it, and then you can decide for yourself if it's a good one. Because the government have the email addresses or the mobile phone numbers of the chicken keepers in those counties, it can really quickly send out an alert. Bird flu in your area, lock down your birds.
Yeah, they've tracked everybody.
And that's the idea of having your birds registered.
This individual is saying that she wished all horses were inspected prior to be registered and used for breeding. That's a big fat no.
The first international e-passport for animals. This passport exactly the same as a citizen passport, complies with eco standards and 14 advanced security features.
Sure seems there's a full court press across the planet. I don't care what nation, what continent you are, to know where every animal is and who owns what food source. Just looks to me more like all governments in the world understanding there's really low food production this year. These laws have been on the books all the way from the UK and many a place where you're supposed to register, but now they're actually starting to fine people and come and actually locate those who didn't register through the reward systems. If you tell something about your neighbors, they were hiding something, you were rewarded. You were stepped up the ladder. This seems to be happening again. Now, why is it right now so imperative that we know where every living animal is? Is this to put it on the blockchain? Is it to digitize and give value to these animals that can then be pledged in as a collateral basis? I'm not sure. Or is it just really that simple that they want to know where all the animals are? So if things get really hungry, governments can come and take it and say, we're going to share with everybody, because some people will be more prepared than others. So I want to go through the video. This is going to cover a couple different parts here. You are going to be shocked by the end of this on what's occurring across the planet. But just so you get some context here, Russia, poultry registration now mandatory. This is in addition to everywhere across the EU and England and parts of Canada as well. This is now going to also extend into goats and cows and that sort of thing, well above the poultry, as you know it would. They're starting immediately for this. And then we move down to Nigeria, which is always ahead on the digital curve of things here. In Africa, it's the #1 place where they're, test betting a lot of the tokenization, digital currencies, et cetera, central bank digital currencies. In Nigeria, just announcing they're starting a registration of livestock. A digital registration and tagging, i.e. bringing it onto the blockchain and also knowing where it is. That's the second most important thing. Or maybe it's the first most important and we're being sold the second. Let's check out what's going on with the flocks in England here.
Chickens. In the UK, and I am seeing more and more evidence to confirm it is true, and it's as of today as well, which it can't be true. The government are trying to say that every chicken has to be registered.
Now, it used to be if you had 50 chickens or more that you used to have to register yourself to have chickens, but now you're going to have to do so even if you only want 1 or 2.
This individual is saying that she wished all horses were inspected prior to be registered and used for breeding. That's a big fat no. Big fat no.
Agreed. Agreed.
You wouldn't have some of your greats if you did that. And if it was left to AQHA to decide what was a acceptable horse, we would have so many confirmation flaws that's already prevalent in AQHA that we would never get out again.
And think about that statement now. Government needs to get in to inspect before you register. That's a whole different thing than just registering. Now they want to send somebody out to your land to inspect. Unlike most olive oils on the market, Casandrinos is single source, organic, cold pressed from family owned groves in Greece. Never blended, not mass produced, not sitting on shelves forever. And every single batch is lab tested for polyphenol content. Farm to table, from their orchards to your kitchen. As soon as they pick these olives, literally within hours, they cold press them so you get peak flavor and health benefits. 100% single origin, organic extra virgin olive oil. That's what you want. Which offers a unique blend of potent vitamins that support immune, bone, and heart health without capsules or fillers. And the Mediterranean diet, you've heard about this for centuries. And the benefits of long-term wellness. From the family-owned olive groves in Laconia, Greece, straight to your taste buds. We should be supporting this type of business, family businesses producing clean foods that can get it to you directly. This should be the new business model for the entire planet. You should know your farmers. We need to have local producers that produce clean foods for us. The corporate chain, this isn't doing it anymore. So please support families and businesses just like this. That link's in the description box below, and it's going to be some of the best olive oil you've ever had in your entire life. Head over to casandrinos.com/David to put your order in there, or you can just simply click on that link in the description box below. And she rightfully says it's going to be a quagmire because of this system is so vast and there's inaccuracies in types of breeds that are entered, and then you registered as something and it comes off, and the person who registered it said, well, I don't think it qualifies as 100% this, but you think it does. And then the cross-reference doesn't match, then there's a mismatch, and either someone confiscates your animal, or that's never the fault of the inputter on the government side. So there's going to be so many inconsistencies and wrongful inputs by having an inspection first from a government body to come before you can self-register in the registry process. That's what that's all talking about. Get it? I totally get it. And then that's the whole thing about in the UK. It used to be 50 birds, 50, now 1, and you have to register. And you saw in the beginning of the show, I'll play that video again, where the lady was saying, well, the reason is it's to protect you, protect us. That's always the excuse they give. But you got to look at the opportunity. Where is this? And can you get outside the net? And if you can get outside the net, what services could you provide for people who want to stay out of this registry system? Because at some point it's going to come to the courts. And, governments do this all the time. They push, just expecting nobody to ever say no. But when it does, and the first few people start to put the mandate or the precedent in place and actually bring in legislation saying, no, this is wrong, eventually it reaches a higher court where the courts side and go, yeah, it's wrong. But until that time, they expect for you to acquiesce to every single request. And then it just takes a few people to stand up and say no. But this is coming. The people are standing up to say no. This is going to be making in the court system. So, what can you offer as a service outside this loop here, while this conundrum of gray area, you must register, you must not? What's outside that? That's the question. I don't have the answer. That's why I'm asking, because I'm interested in that myself.
Great question. Why do the government want us to register? Let me talk to you about what the plan was behind it, and then you can decide for yourself if it's a good one. Originally, we used to have nationwide lockdowns.
Because they want to come and get your chickens if they have a chance, if everybody's hungry.
With the introduction of everybody being registered last October, the idea is,
for lockdown,
for example, if there are no cases of bird flu in Sussex, which is where we're based, then we don't need to lock down. There is no flockdown. But if there becomes a case in Hampshire or Norfolk or Suffolk, because the government have the email addresses or the mobile phone numbers of the chicken keepers in those counties, it can really quickly send out an alert. Bird flu in your area, lock down your birds. And that's the idea of having your birds registered.
If you, like us, have chickens and want to sell your eggs or give them away or anything in the state of California, you have to have a license, apparently. I didn't know that. So you have to register through the California Department of Food and Agriculture, but I had no idea, even if you're just giving eggs away, just giving them away, you have to have a license.
This is where we jump the shark or jump the chick. You need a license to give eggs away. See, this is what I'm saying. If they have your phone numbers and they know exactly where your residence is, let's say you're away from your residence, then they can ping your location in case you don't want to comply. Like you say, no way, I'm going to take all my chickens and fly, literally, and I'm going to take my 100 birds, 10 birds, 20, whatever. And you're going to throw them in your car, your truck, in cages, then get them out and you're driving. And if the flock cameras don't pick you up, they can ping your phone and know exactly where you are with your cache of birds. That's what I think it's more about, is controlling the food supply. I really can't see it anything further. Now, if you can, I'm all ears. I'm really interested to learn more about why this might be. But everything, knowing how lean the harvest is this year, I swear to you, this is going to be borderline at the end of the year chaos in the markets, and food's going to get real expensive quick. There's going to be a lot of things you didn't think were possible to happen with, like what you can buy, when you can buy it, how expensive it's going to get, who's allowed to get what. Just like we never thought anything in 2021 was ever going to happen, never could, and bam, it hit so fast. What happens if it's food this time? All those same things that occurred in 2021, 22, 23 is all about food this time. Controlling the food. Why do you think they put all the license plate readers up? If you're a known food manufacturer, food distributor, or these sort of thing, they'll track your car, pull you over. You got food in there, that was illegal, you're a hoarder. You know, you can just see how this thing moves 50 ways from Sunday. And that was crazy that I didn't know you need a license just to give away eggs in California. Like the mission creep here has gone so far over. And now, you know, it's in the United States too. It's in the EU. Now you can expect that over there on the elected bureaucrats. But here in the States, you think we'd have a little more leeway to actually give away something for free that we produced with our own hands, time, and money. But I guess not. So, you know, look for what the messaging is inside here, if you're willing to.
Now, no hormones added. Okay, this one's my favorite. Hormones in poultry have actually been illegal since the 1950s, 70 years. Every chicken in America is hormone-free, and it's the law. So when a carton brags about it, they're charging you extra for obeying a law since the Eisenhower administration. And the part that kills me, the USDA makes them print a disclaimer right on it to say the federal regulation prohibits hormones in poultry anyway. It's on the package, nobody reads it.
Yeah, and you need to wonder how many things this is taking place with and all the food packaging that we're seeing. That was great the way you said from the Eisenhower administration, because you're like, I ate back in the 50s. You know, you think about the Eisenhower, you know, front-facing coins that we used to have. That's a long, long time ago. And again, you know, the marketing, it's all about the marketing, how they spin what is allowed, not allowed, what's just normal. As all, you know, there's like these gray areas between what a free range chicken is. They have to have access to the outdoors, and how wide the opening it is, or where it goes on the outdoors onto another concrete pad. Nobody knows. It just says they have to have access to the outdoors. Well, that's the definition of a free range chicken. But we just don't know what's on the other. Like they envision it, this grass field, like this gentleman standing in. But what if it's just to another concrete feed area? You know, there's so many gray areas in our food system here in the way it's labeling, and, you know, it's just gotten out of control. That's why I'm saying know your local farmers, know the local, you know, community where you can get it. And if you can help your local farmers, please do, because they're the ones that you know where your healthy foods are coming from, clean foods. They'll tell you what's in it, what they sprayed on it. If they did, they're very honest. So, you know, my bet is on local farmers moving forward. As we get into the end of the year and these food prices start to get ridiculous and people start freaking out. And here's one that fits right into exactly what I'm talking about. Animal passports to become mandatory in Uzbekistan. Well, that's also across Kyrgyzstan, all the way into Kazakhstan and Almaty. That's originally, I guess, where this has come from, and it's spreading around the local stan areas adjacent to Kazakhstan. And what they want to do is introduce a digital animal passport required. And this is, again, it comes right back to all registration for all animals. But here's the difference. They're getting them a digital identity, a literal digital identity for every animal, including your dogs and your cats. But this is more focused on farm livestock, so they can transit them across the border and know where every single one is.
The first international e-passport for animals. This passport exactly the same as a citizen passport, complies with eco standards and 14 advanced security features. Today, iPasa is ready and active in 10 different languages, and everyone in the world can use it.
Microchips, it's the same everywhere. There's your digital identity. And this is apparently what the passport looks like for every bit. And they got airport scanners for this too. This is very advanced. They've been working on this for years and years and years. Question is why? Question is why now? Animal passport scanner. And I think I have an idea why now, because if you have a digital representation of every animal and you need to move food across the border immediately to alleviate food riots, food shortages, and the traditional way that we used to do it was bill of lading and all these types of, movements through trucks or rail, and it would take a day or two to clear that, and then we have to go into quarantine, depending on the nations if they were next to each other. But in a speedy fashion where you need to move food from one place to another live on the hoof, this is exactly what that's for. Exactly what it's for. Everything's digitized. They know where it came from, what farmers, or any contamination there. No, it's fast tracked through, boom. Like literally as a human, show your passport, you go right through. This is the digitization aspect that we're moving into, and I think they're fast tracking it, and it's all live now because of the food shortages coming, I believe, this and next year, because the harvest season at the end, and we roll into 2027.
Extreme heat and drought have pushed the grape picking harvest forward by almost 2 weeks across the famed French region. And timing isn't the only concern. Sweltering heat is accelerating ripening, making grapes sweeter and narrowing the picking window.
Yeah, they lost grapes last year,
That's a
too, in
problem for
Austria.
Champagne, which relies on a slow maturation process for its signature crisp taste.
Now, they lost an enormous amount of grapes in Austria the last couple of years, too. Now, look at the drought that's occurring here. Now, this is really becoming real famous. There's old wrecks, World War II wrecks, everything's starting to come out through this dropping river levels. Although back in 2018, it dropped as well, and the hunger stones popped out. But for some reason, this year, they're really, really, really pushing the low water. And if we want to jump into the rock, this is exactly what it's focusing on here, the rock of starvation. When you see me cry, but remember, even in 2018, saw some really low river levels where these same rocks occurred. They saw some of the same, World War II wrecks popping out. But for some reason, this year, it is all hands on deck to push the message. So here's some of the same wreckage that was shown that had popped up anytime in these last several years of low water, like 2016, 18. Some of these had also resubmerged, So very dangerous walking around the wrecks, by the way. I pierced my foot in 2 places with metal going up to a World War II wreck. Just wearing sandals, don't do that. But people from the World War II German ghost fleet comes back. Again, all hands on deck. There's a big drought. Why are they telling you now?
Look how France's landscape turned from being lush and green to dry and brown in just 9 days during a recent heat wave. Rivers show it too. Look how much narrower the Rhine in Germany got in just 1 year.
The south part of Poland is very dry. We have 71 dry alerts in all Poland, and it's a 320 water station when we have.
That's really below the whole river system.
Really low flow on the rivers.
Water levels are extremely low, disrupting energy generation, trade flows, and farming. Take the Rhine. The major bottleneck cog levels dropped to 6 centimeters on Saturday. That's far below the 25 centimeter record that was set back in 2018.
6 centimeters, that's about
Germany's
like that.
Commodities, including steel, chemicals, and petroleum products. It's already affecting companies like BASF and Lanxess and could threaten Germany's economy. The German Economic Institute estimates a repeat of 2018 conditions could shave 0.4% off of GDP, erasing this year's projected growth for Germany.
And what I was trying to say was it's 30 centimeters to a foot. So if it's 4 centimeters, you're talking like this much in the depths of the river there. Nothing's moving. So check out this chart. Record high freight costs on the Rhine, shipping from Rotterdam. Look at the spike in the cost. That's because they can't move it. So then everything gets more expensive based on just how much it costs to move, in addition to the expensive costs of everything that's gotten more expensive, especially for farm goods and crops by the ton these days. Let's look at England or the UK. Looking rather parched down there as well. It's not just the US. Everywhere in the world is experiencing drought in the Northern Hemisphere.
Our electric bill this year for pumping water for our irrigation system will be somewhere between £600,000 and £700,000, and just to cover from April to the end of August into early September. So an unbelievable amount of money.
that is an unbelievable amount of money, which is going to get passed on to you. In addition, that's why I'm saying everything is going to go up in cost, and it has, which is all the input costs. If it wasn't the fertilizer, it was the seed. If it's not the diesel and the pesticides and whatever, now we got the transportation costs, and now look, we got water costs, electricity on top of for water costs that are going to get pushed into the price on every kilogram of whatever you buy to eat. You see, this loop is just a self-feeding whirlpool loop here. It's becoming kind of, you see something's going on, and then everything I've shown you in the video kind of explains why they want to know where all the food is. They want to try to fast track animals across borders, but they need to know where the animals are too, in case they need to come and confiscate them in case of the famine or a food shortage, to try to stop people from rioting. That's the number one thing. More governments in the history of our planet in the last 8,000 years have fallen because of hungry masses and hungry citizenry than anything else. Any wars, anything else. Economic collapse, nothing. Hungry people topple governments, and this is what they're afraid of. This is what they're trying to stop this time. So let me throw the cherry on top. Well, a locust, I guess, is good enough. Apocalyptic scenes after huge swarms of locusts fill the skies above Russia's Dagestan. And here we go. These have spread from Dagestan, by the way. They've multiplied. This is about a 2-week-old story, and this horde of locusts, if you call it a plague, has multiplied, and it's like substantially larger than it was, like exponentially larger, and it's still moving. They haven't been able to control it because they ran out of, pesticides. I guess that's what happens in the world when you go to war. So keep this in mind as we move forward over the next few weeks. You're going to have a plan for something. Please consider buying some seeds, supporting the channel, True Leaf Market Heirloom and Organic Seeds for any grow zone on the planet. Also, the Civilization Cycle podcast YouTube channel. Check that out. We're doing 2 hours at a time over there. I'm a co-host and Ransom and myself. I appreciate you watching. Please share this video. Feel free to cut it up, share with friends and family. I'll see you next video. Bye for now.